If someone had told me that the man I thought I'd marry would vanish like a ghost, I would have laughed in their face. But that's exactly what happened. Hello, my name is Grace, and I met Adam 3.5 years ago at my best friend's engagement party. He was wearing this terrible beige jacket that looked like it had survived the 80s and somehow still thought it had a chance at a comeback. But the moment he smiled, God, that smile. I swear he could have convinced a nun to sin. He was charming, quick-witted, and unbelievably attentive. The kind of man who would remember how I took my coffee and my favorite comfort movie for rainy days. He made me feel like I was the only person in the room, even in a crowd. We dated for almost 4 months before he officially asked me to be his girlfriend. From then on, we were that couple. The ones who were annoyingly cute, who held hands at the grocery store and took matching photos at pumpkin patches. Every moment with him felt intentional. He introduced me to his family within 6 months. His mom loved me. His dad joked that I was already more reliable than Adam. We even talked about kids someday, 2, maybe 3. He wanted to name one after his grandfather. I agreed, thinking it was sweet. I gave him everything, my time, my support, my love, my patience. He went through a tough period with work, and I helped him rework his resume, prep for interviews, even covered rent for 2 months when he got laid off. He always said he'd pay me back. I never pushed. We had plans. We discussed moving in together. In fact, I had already started looking at furniture ideas and tiny apartments with ridiculous rent but beautiful lighting. We were planning a road trip that summer, just the 2 of us, his playlist, my snacks, a couple of disposable cameras, and a map. It was all falling into place, until it wasn't. It started small. Missed texts, calls that went to voicemail. Sorry, babe, work's been crazy. Didn't sleep last night, I'll call you later. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. He was stressed. He needed space. I didn't want to be that girlfriend who panicked over every silence. Then came the weekend he was supposed to meet my family. My parents had prepped the guest room. My sister had baked cookies. He texted me that morning, on my way. And then, nothing. No calls, no texts, no replies. I tried everything. I even called his mother, who said she hadn't heard from him in a few days either. I was worried sick. Did something happen? Was he in the hospital? In trouble? I reached out to his best friend Jake, who acted weirdly vague and said Adam just needed time to sort things out. Sort what out? We were happy, or so I thought. I went from worried to confused to absolutely devastated. A week passed, then 2. I called from different numbers, tried social media, even drove by his apartment. No answer. The mailbox was full. His car was gone. It was like he had evaporated. And the worst part? No closure, no explanation. I couldn't sleep. I kept rereading our last texts, searching for signs I might have missed. Was I too much? Not enough? Did I smother him? Or worse? Was there someone else? Eventually, I stopped reaching out. I forced myself to move forward. I deleted our pictures, blocked his number, grieved the relationship like a death, because in a way, it was. A death of something I thought was real. For almost a year, I tried to rebuild myself. I went back to therapy, took a solo trip, even got a new haircut, one of those changes that made you feel like you're shedding old skin. I still thought about him. I'd dream about him showing up on my doorstep with flowers and an apology. But I'd wake up to silence. Then, just when I thought I was over it, life dropped the biggest bomb. A friend from college messaged me out of the blue. "Isn't this your ex?" she wrote, attaching a photo. It was him, Adam, standing in a tuxedo, smiling, arm around a woman in a white dress. At his wedding, my hands went cold. I zoomed in to make sure. There was no mistake. That was Adam, my Adam, getting married. No warning, no explanation. Just a picture that shattered everything I had rebuilt. And in that moment, all I could think was, he ghosted me after 3 years. And now he's marrying someone else? He thought he was done with me. But he had no idea what was coming next. After the initial shock of seeing Adam in that wedding photo, something inside me snapped. I wasn't just hurt anymore, I was furious. I stared at the picture for minutes, studying it, zooming in on every detail. Her dress looked custom, his suit was expensive. There was a string quartet in the background and petals scattered on the grass. This wasn't some last-minute courthouse thing. It was a real wedding, a planned one. How long had he been seeing her? Was he already with her when he was with me? Did he leave me to be with her? Was I just a pit stop on his way to a better life? I started digging. I couldn't help myself. It was like an itch I had to scratch. His new wife's name was Cassandra. I found her Instagram in less than 5 minutes. Her account was public, of course. She had a highlight reel called Us. And I swear, every video felt like a slap to the face. Them at brunch, them ice skating, them in Cancun. One clip was dated only 2 months after Adam had ghosted me. So he hadn't disappeared to find himself. He had disappeared to replace me. It's funny, when you're grieving someone who ghosted you, you sometimes convince yourself they're hurting too. That maybe they miss you, or they're too emotionally broken to reach out. You picture them staring at your photos late at night, wishing they could fix what they ruined. But Adam, he had just moved on. Like I never existed. Like the 3 years we spent together were just background noise. That realization turned something cold and calculating inside me. Not only had he ghosted me, but now he was celebrating with a new woman without ever giving me the decency of closure. It wasn't just disrespectful, it was humiliating. And that's when the idea formed. I wasn't going to beg him for answers. I wasn't going to send some long-winded text asking why. I wasn't going to cry over his wedding. I was going to attend it. No, I didn't have an invitation, but Cassandra's Instagram made it ridiculously easy to find the venue. She posted the exact location in a boomerang showing off her bridal shoes. A vineyard 2 towns over. Classy, overpriced, and open to the public on weekends. I took a deep breath. This was insane, right? Who shows up at their ex's wedding? But the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. I didn't want revenge, not exactly. I just wanted the truth. And maybe. To see the look on Adam's face when he realized the past he buried wasn't staying buried. So I got dressed. I didn't go full glam. That would have been too obvious. I wore a black dress, simple, clean, the kind you could pass off as, I'm just here for the wine tasting. I kept my makeup light, hair down. I looked good, but not wedding crasher obvious. I arrived an hour early, blending in with the early guests and the vineyard's casual Sunday traffic. Nobody questioned me. I even grabbed a welcome cocktail and smiled at a few of the groomsmen. Then I saw him, Adam, laughing, confident, comfortable. He looked happy. That should have crushed me, but instead, it lit a fire, because I knew what was coming. I waited until they were gathering guests for the ceremony, slipping in quietly and sitting in the back row. I watched as Cassandra walked down the aisle, radiant in her dress. I watched as Adam took her hand, smiled like he was the luckiest man alive. And then the officiant started speaking. Dearly beloved. My heart was pounding. I could have caused a scene right then and there. I could have stood up and shouted, "This man ghosted his last girlfriend after 3 years. Does Cassandra know that?" But I didn't. Not yet. Because I had a better idea. A quieter, more elegant kind of chaos. I waited until the vows were done. Until the moment where the officiant said, "If anyone objects." My legs shook, but I stood up, slowly, calmly, heads turned. Adam froze, his eyes locked onto mine, and he went pale. The officiant looked confused. "Ma'am?" I smiled. "I don't object," I said, voice steady. "I just thought the groom's last girlfriend of 3 years deserved a front row seat." Gasps. Murmurs. Someone dropped a glass. Cassandra turned to Adam, blinking in disbelief. "What?" And in that moment, I saw it. The mask fall off Adam's face. The guilt. The panic. The truth he never wanted exposed. bleeding out in front of friends, family, and the woman he was about to marry. His silence was thick. It was like time froze the second I said it. That I was Adam's ex-girlfriend of 3 years. From the back row, at his wedding. Every head turned toward me. I wasn't the crazy ex they were expecting. I looked calm, put together, dead serious. Cassandra's face was frozen, her hand still half clasped around Adam's. "What is she talking about?" she asked, her voice tight. Adam cleared his throat. "Grace, this isn't the time." "No, Adam, it's exactly the time," I cut him off. "Because you ghosted me like I never existed. You didn't just disappear from my life. You erased me, and now here you are, pretending like you didn't leave someone behind." I stepped forward, slow and controlled, like a storm building behind my eyes. "You left me 3 months before this," I said, motioning toward the altar. "And now you're here, saying vows? You don't get to start a new chapter when you haven't finished the last one." The guests were in shock. You could hear someone whisper, "3 years?" Another woman gasped and said, "Oh my God." Cassandra let go of his hand. "Is it true?" she asked him, her voice trembling. Adam laughed nervously, running a hand through his hair. "She's twisting things. We weren't together when I met you, Cass. She's just bitter." That's when I took out my phone. Because yes, I came prepared. "Oh really?" I said. "You want to play that game, Adam?" I turned to Cassandra. "Do you want to see the text where he said he loved me? The one from January? Or maybe the plane tickets I bought for our anniversary trip? That he never showed up for?" I swiped to the gallery. "Here's the Airbnb confirmation, the dinner reservation. Want screenshots of our last conversation? Because he didn't break up with me, Cassandra. He just vanished." Adam lunged forward. "Grace, stop. This is insane." "No, what's insane is being ghosted by the man I thought I'd marry," I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "What's insane is watching him say, forever, to someone else, like he doesn't have a trail of destruction behind him." Cassandra turned to him, her jaw clenched. "Tell me she's lying." Adam started. And then she looked at me. "Show me the messages." I held up the phone. "Here, read them yourself." Cassandra took the phone from my hands. The room was so quiet you could hear the birds outside. She scrolled. Slowly, her hands started to shake. "You told her you loved her," she said, looking at him. "You told her you were going to propose." And then, smack, a clean slap. Right across Adam's face. Guests gasped. Someone muttered, "Jesus Christ." Cassandra's voice cracked. "I told you I had one rule, Adam. No secrets. And you couldn't even give me that." "I didn't mean for this to happen." "Oh, so you just accidentally led 2 women on. Was this wedding an accident too?" She threw the phone at his feet and turned to me. "Thank you," she said, her voice soft but clear. "I'm sorry he did that to you, and I'm sorry I didn't know." I nodded. We weren't friends. We'd never be. But in that moment, we were allies. Adam tried to chase after her, stammering some excuse, but she was already walking away from the altar, past the shocked guests, past the flowers and the music, and the life she thought she was starting. And me? I stood there, in the wreckage, and didn't feel sad. I felt free. For the first time since he left me in silence, I had a voice again. But this isn't where the story ends. Because what I didn't know then was that the fallout from that day would get even messier. That's it, the full messy aftermath. It wasn't just about exposing Adam's lies. It was about reclaiming my power, my voice, and my future. And I don't think I'll ever go back to being that girl who let a man dictate her happiness. Grace 2.0? She's here to stay. And if you're watching this, if you've ever been through something similar, or maybe you're in it right now, I want you to hear me when I say this. You are not crazy. You are not too much. And you are not to blame for someone else's cowardice. When Adam ghosted me, I spiraled. I questioned everything, my worth, my memories, my sanity. I blamed myself, wondering what I did wrong, what I could have done differently. I gave my whole heart to someone who treated it like a disposable lighter. But you know what? That wasn't love. That was emotional manipulation wrapped in charm. Looking back, I wish someone had grabbed me by the shoulders and told me, "You are not someone's second thought. You are not their backup plan. You are not their emotional punching bag while they figure themselves out. So let me be that person for you." If someone is ghosting you, breadcrumbing you, gaslighting you, hurting you, walk away. Not quietly, not with guilt. Walk away with your head high and your story intact. Because here's what no one tells you. You don't have to wait for someone else to give you closure. You can give it to yourself. The second I stopped waiting for Adam to explain, to apologize, to do the right thing, that's when I found peace. The second I stopped wondering why he didn't choose me and started asking why I ever settled for someone who could lie to my face, I started to heal. And that's what I want for you. Whether it's a partner who ghosted you, a friend who betrayed you, a family member who broke your trust. Don't let the pain make you small. Use it. Channel it. Let it remind you of what you deserve. You deserve honesty. You deserve consistency. You deserve someone who's proud to love you out loud, not just when it's convenient. People like Adam will keep existing, sadly. But that doesn't mean they get to win. Because when you refuse to stay quiet, when you reclaim your voice, when you show up and say, "I won't let this break me," that's when the story changes. That's when you become the version of yourself that's too powerful to ever be silenced again. I turn my heartbreak into a lesson, a warning, a mirror for every girl who's sitting there, wondering why she wasn't enough. You were always enough. They just weren't ready to handle someone like you. So don't let anyone, not an Adam, not a Cassandra, not anyone, convince you to shrink to make them comfortable. Be loud, be messy, be honest. Show up to their wedding if you have to. Just don't disappear from your own life. Because the moment you stop letting people step on you is the moment they stop having power over your story. And that's when you become unstoppable.